This is how to set up a service in ProPresenter. We're going to use the information that we've already put into our Planning Center service for this weekend so that we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Also, so if we make any changes in Planning Center, they will be easily reflected in ProPresenter. Simply go down to the bottom of the left corner of the screen, click the drop arrow, select New PCO Playlist, which stands for Planning Center Online Playlist. Here you'll see a list of our teams. I'm going to select FP Worship Team since I'm on a Frederick Pike computer. Also, I have to click this actual arrow. Clicking the folder itself, actually, I stand corrected. The folder itself worked. Hit select, or no, sorry, we do need to click that arrow to drop it down. Sorry about that. That will drop down all the playlists that we have, or all the services we have in Planning Center. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and select the one that's relevant to this weekend. Click that, click select, and now it automatically imports everything in here. One thing you'll notice here is that sometimes it gets a little confused when it's got things that are already in the library. I just simply select apply to all and skip. You could also choose right over, but there's no reason to do that. We don't want to select add a new version because then we would get duplicates. Okay, so see if you look down here on the left-hand side under playlists, we have a new one here that is synced up with Planning Center. Also, you'll notice when I hover it over here, there is a refresh button. If you click that, it will simply refresh it from Planning Center. So if any changes are made in the future in Planning Center, we just simply need to go in here and hit that refresh button and they will automatically be adjusted. For example, if you switched out a song or if you reordered some songs. So here's the service itself. We'll start from the top here, and this is all the items in the service. It starts with the welcome loop. I will select link, which allows us to add media to this welcome loop. Both Frederick and the Y share the same media libraries for simplicity. They're found under the video image bin up at the top here, so click that. And now we need to grab the welcome loop, which is found under in about a minute and countdown, or excuse me, that's the countdown. The welcome loop is an image that is found here under our background videos and images, okay? And so, actually, I said it's an image, it's actually a looping video clip. This is our library of background images, and you'll see this top set is the acrylic set. You'll notice they all have the name acrylic. And there are a variety of sets that we have, and sometimes we add more. Then it goes into blue smoke for a bit, then bright future. What we do is we use backgrounds out of the same graphic set so that they look good together. Right now we're in one called grunge, so I'm just going to start to type that word, and that will get rid of all the one, that'll filter this by only the ones that have grunge. So you'll see here's a grunge welcome, a grunge thanks for joining us, a variety of grunge images there of different colors, a grunge event screen that we usually don't use. So this, of course, we want the welcome, because it's called the welcome loop. So we simply click and I drag this up. You see how the green plus arrow shows up. Release it, and there it is. That's all ready to go. As soon as you hit the play button here, you'll see how the welcome screen shows up. Okay? Then the service countdown video. Again, we link that. These are found in the in about a minute and countdown videos. Right now we only have one of them here. What I do need to do, however, is to get rid of my filter because that was stopping it from showing up. So here's our 10-minute countdown video. I'm going to click and drag that in as well. And it will show up there as the service countdown video. So now again, anytime I would click that, you'll notice that this video clip will start playing and you hear the audio. Next, we have Never Too Late. Now this is kind of exceptional because this is actually a song that did not show up in here because it's not in our library. So I can search here using those words, and you'll see that there's, in the word star, or the song Stars, the phrase never too late shows up, but that's not the song that I want. Now so here are a variety of never too late songs. You can click on each one to see the lyrics in each one and select the one you want. However, with this particular song, this is a secular song, so it does not show up in Song Select because that's a worship song. So we're going to skip this one because this would need to be imported manually by the worship leader because it's not able to be added through Song Select. Typically, songs are going to already be in the library, as we'll see in a minute. So now we go down here, we have the worship set where Welcome from Tyler, that is not something that requires a slide, so it's just an audible welcome he gives, so we don't link anything there. Then we have a song called Moving Forward, which you see is automatically added. The reason it's been added is because we have a song in our library called Moving Forward. This only works if the song, which you'll see it right here, this only works if the song name is identical to the one that is in the library. Now there's a couple things we need to do to Moving Forward before it's ready. First, you'll see that there's some missing cues on here. These are the two, the one in the top left and the one in the center. That means that the last time we used Moving Forward, we had some links on these slides that don't appear, that are not currently relevant, sorry. So I'm going to right-click on that, and I'm going to simply go down here to say Remove Media Cue, and it gets rid of that. So now it's just a blank slide. Now what I need to do is add a background video, and that's found here under Background Videos. And again, you remember we're using the grunge theme, so I'll search for grunge, and I'll pick whichever one of these that I want to use. At Frederick, we try to use ones that look reasonably simple. Some of them get a little crazy, but we'll just go with this one. So I click and I drag it onto this slide, not in between here. That would make a new slide. I want to put it right on top. And that now is the background. Now, you notice it doesn't show up on all these slides here because a background continues to carry over until another background is selected. So when we go to the presentation, what we'll do here is simply we'll click on the background slide, and now you see up here the background starts, and then for each song lyric we click on, it's going to use that same background from here on out. And so what we've got to do here is we keep on clicking through and it will all work just fine. Okay? Now we go down to the next song, which is called You Came. Now this is interesting because you'll see there's already a background, Grunge Silk Blue, which means that the last time we used the song You Came, we had that background. So that's why it's carrying over to this time. So there's nothing we need to do there. Okay, keep scrolling. Now there's a prayer, which we don't use any slides for, so we continue. I surrender. I'm not going to actually add a background because it's not really necessary, because you'll notice here if I click the one from You Came and then the song ends here and I just keep on clicking, you'll notice the background stays up. So I could have added a different background here if I wanted to, but there's not really a need to because it was on there for the prior song and I'm good with that background. Now there's a couple of things here in the service, this prayer and intro into the meet and greet and the blessings of the backpacks that I realize I'm going to need a slide for. I would like to use the welcome slide, which is in the worship host file. So I'll simply just type in worship. Here's worship host, and I'm going to click link. That gives me the ability to link into it. And I'm going to click and hold and drag. Don't just single click that worship host, or else it will switch to that and you'll have to click back into your presentation. So now the reason I did this is because now at that point, the worship host, or I'm sorry, the presenter could pull up this Welcome to Stillwater slide, which is what I want to have up when they're doing the blessing of the backpacks. I don't just want the blank background that we had before. So since I put it there, that's going to continue to, that'll be the slide I want from here on down. Now we have the announcement video, which I'll hit link. Announcement video is always found in the video repository here under In About a Minute and Countdown Videos. This syncs automatically, except I have to delete my filter again. And now you see the In About a Minutes that are in here. Now the one for this weekend's not done, but I'll do one just for temporary. One thing to do with a new video is first you need to put a stop command on it. Otherwise, by default, videos in ProPresenter link. Loop. The reason that they loop is because the backgrounds loop. So that's why it's the default. To add a stop, you simply right-click and select Stop. And from now on, this video, when it's played, will stop when it comes to the end. Now I simply click, drag it here, and this video will all be ready to be played as soon as that's clicked. Immediately afterward, in this service, I'm actually going to put the worship host in again because I want the person to be reminded that I want that Welcome to Stillwater slide back up there. Even though the slide's here, it's so easy to drag it in, and that makes it really clear as to what I want. Now I go down here to Weekend Message, and so I'm going to link in a message. I don't have my sermon done yet. However, I believe that there will be one over here. So I can delete this. You see right now we're sorting by category. So that puts all the sermons as presentations up top. So I'm just going to take a former one that I've done here. And again, I'm going to click and hold, not single click, but click and hold and drag it right here. And now my sermon is all entered into and all ready to go. Okay? Now after the sermon comes It Is Well. Once again, you'll see here that we've got some broken stage cues. Actually, I'm going to back up for a second because I want to show a stage cue that is that's helpful for Pastor Jordan and what she likes to have on the back screen. By default, the back screen goes to our Stillwater songs, where it shows the current slide plus a preview of the first two lines of the next slide. It's very useful for the vocalists, but sometimes the person preaching may want to see on the back screen exactly what is on the front screen. This is easily accomplished through a media cue. A media cue is simply a cue that is added to a particular slide that tells ProPresenter to take a certain action. To do that, I go to that slide, which will be the first slide of the message. I right-click, or also another option is control-click if you don't have a right button. That's exactly the same thing. So I can control-click, and then I go to Add Cue, and then add stage display layout, stage display layout. This chooses from the options that we have. So we use two here at Frederick Pike, songs and duplicate main screen. You could add as many of these as you want for different types of back screens. So I'm going to select now duplicate main screen. And as soon as I select that, you'll see that this stage display cue shows up on this slide. And if you want to know what that cue is, simply right-click, and you can see that the cue is stage display. So if I didn't want that, I could remove it, or I could change it. Now, it's also important that I change this back for the singers, because right now what it's going to do is it's going to mimic what's on the back screen, which is not what they want. So I'm going to go to the last slide in my message. I'm going to right-click. I'm going to add a cue, stage display layout, songs. And there it is. So now, as soon as this slide is clicked, it will change the stage display back to where the singers would like it to be, so that as soon as we go into the song, we're good to go. Now you see we have some cues here that are broken. What I do is I right click or control click and just tell it to remove. I'm not sure if you have to do that. You might just be able to go over it with a new background, but that's my preference, to keep it clean. So then I select background videos, again back to grunge to keep our theme consistent, and I will pick this particular background, drop it on the slide, and now it's set. So it will play the songs as we want them to play, and it'll have them with that background, and it will all show up on the back screen. Finally, we have the thanks for joining us loop, which is also another grunge item. So I click link, I go down here, there's thanks for joining us, click, drag, drop. So now we've built our entire service, and it's all ready to go for this weekend, except I'm going to need to put in the correct sermon, and the worship leader will need to add that one special song. Again, if you need to refresh from Planning Center, you go down here and you can hit the refresh button, and it will refresh everything that is on that playlist. Now, again, it's wanting to re-download some of these things, which is not really necessary, so I hit apply to all and use existing, just so it doesn't re-add those videos to the library. It simply is a way that it occasionally doesn't play real nicely, but it will come back up here in just a minute. This is a good example, though, of how it can take sometimes a couple moments, every now and then a minute if something's not working right, to re-add that or to update that playlist. So don't do that 5 seconds before the service. You only want to do that when you've got at least a couple minutes, in case something hangs like it appears to be doing now, or takes a little bit of extra time. Again, I'll apply to all, use existing. For the service, I'm going to now close out my video bin so that everything is ready to go. One other thing to remember is that we at Frederick Pike, or excuse me, every computer has its own library. And so something that is in the library here at Frederick Pike will not necessarily be in the library at the Y. I'm going to make a separate video that tells how we deal with these libraries. Thanks for listening. I hope this has been helpful.